Yeah, that's a new thing. It's just started doing that. Yeah.
Silicone Sally.
Yeah. So good morning, everyone. It is this is our Fellowship of Spirit Zoom meeting for May 30th, 2021. My name is Ron Holloway, and I'll be your moderator today. We're glad that you are here to be with us. I don't see any new people, but we have this being Memorial Day weekend. We were not expecting a lot of people, but we have about 7 on Zoom, and we have 5 of us here, so we have about 12 people, which is not horrible. We love, and even if it was just 2 of us, it would be plenty. It would be like it was supposed to be. So, but anyway, we're just really glad that that you are here and with us. So, does anyone want to volunteer to give an opening prayer? Susan disappeared. Well, I'll go ahead and open this up. Father, Mother God, we thank you for this day, for this opportunity to come together in love and to worship you, to worship our godly connection to each one of us to you. We ask that you would guide us in a good way, open our hearts and our minds, and that we may be able to receive the goodness that is extended to us constantly. So we thank you very much and ask that you would watch over us and protect us during this time. Amen. And there's Linda. Hi, Linda.
Hi.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to mute everyone, and then if you want, you can unmute. I can't unmute you, but you can unmute yourself to talk. But we get too much feedback if we get everybody talking at once. It gets the reverberating around. So, you have any announcements, Jerry? Anybody else have anything preliminary announcements that we need to make? No? Okay, well, those present here in the sanctuary that you cannot see are Jerry Lord, Margaret Cheesebro, Jim Jones, and Steve Barker and myself. So, and the rest of you, we can see you online. Mike, Carol, Pam, Lily, Linda. So that's good. We're glad that you're here with us today. You want to do our first song?
Sure.
And if you want, let me see one of those words.
It is For the Beauty of the Earth. Ron, did you want to do Statement of Faith?
Yeah, let me get, where's our, do you have yeah. Oh, you gave me one right there. Okay.
No, that's the old one, but it'll have the.
It's the same statement of faith, right? Okay, our statement of faith is, love produces a flow of energy that I now feel. I love others more than ever, and I feel privileged to be here. Love flows from one person to another as we create an atmosphere of holiness, and so it is. Okay, and Margaret said that her song today is
For the Beauty of the Earth.
For the Beauty of the Earth. Let me see one of those, Steve.
You can have them both because I've got the hymn on.
Can you see that?
Oh, that's good. That's what I was hoping you could do.
Well, that's reversed. It does
Well,
the mirror effect.
It does, yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
Oh, no. Well, okay, Steve, are you ready? What page is it? Okay.
I actually rehearsed.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. That's what I was afraid of.
Yeah.
I got it.
I'm gonna do the
3:05. Thank you, Margaret and Steve. Thank you very, very much.
The other one was first. The other one's just first.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the next one's 243.
Yeah.
Okay. Carol Littletree and her family are a large portion of Fellowship of Spirit. She's been coming here for a number of years, her and her family, and we love each and every one of them. Her
You,
grandson, Curtis?
Justin.
Justin just graduated from high school, and they were all together last week. And I take it that celebration went well. Is that right, Carol?
Oh, yeah, it did.
All right. Well, we're happy for her. So, okay, Carol has our spiritual reading for the day.
Okay. Since we just had graduation and Father's Day's coming up, I found this little story, a little, I guess you would call it a poem on chicken soup for the soul. It's on parenting. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not for them to be like you. For life goes not backwards, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children and your children are living arrows, are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows might go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. And that's my chicken soup.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
Well, I don't know what has happened here. No, no, I wanted to have it on, I don't know, it used to be I could, there's a pin or unpin here. But I want it to be the person who spoke last is supposed to get on the speaker view. I'm gonna,
Right now, you're on speaker.
I know that. No. Now,
So if I'm talking, is it working?
Yeah.
Can you see me pop up?
no, I can hear you, Lily.
Yeah, I didn't pop up. I was just saying if it would
Yeah,
shift
no,
over.
yeah.
Oh,
So, okay, so we have Mike Rose. Mike Rose is an integral part of Fellowship of Spirit. We love him to death. He has been a student of Course in Miracles for many, many years, and he's the guy who got me coming over here when we restarted our Course in Miracles about 8 or 9 years ago now. We both got involved in Fellowship of Spirit and still here today, so we love it. He is now, most weeks, he is going to be at the Presbyterian Church because his grandchildren and his daughter and grandchildren have started going over there, and he is going to go to Presbyterian Church to support them. However, when it's his turn to speak, he's gonna speak. And today, oh, that was last week's. So Mike, why don't we welcome Mike Rose, and he can tell you what his topic is, what his title is. Go, Mike. You are muted. There we go. Thank you.
Okay, so before we start, Carol, I just want to share with you, if you want to know more about what you just read, it's in this. That's where that came from,
Yeah, that's cool.
okay? Cahill Gibran. And it's a whole book of those kind of things about different,
Why?
I think you would really like it.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you for the reading. So I want to start today by, talking about,
No, I got it.
It's been that way all the time.
are we ready, Ron?
Not up there, it
No,
hasn't.
not up there. You're right.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No problem. As some of you may, or I know some of you do, but last summer my wife bought me a laser engraver machine for my 65th birthday. And this is not some little desk laptop thing. This is an actual industrial like machine, and never had anything like this before. And to be honest with you, when we took it out of the box and everything, it was pretty intimidating. I mean, it's a major apparatus. So anyway, in getting involved with it, I mean, it took a lot of prep work. I had to turn a shed into a shop. I had to run electricity. We had to maneuver this thing. And it has now become really kind of a part of our life, but it took a lot of YouTube experience, to break the learning curve. A lot of new skills, and learning the language, and everything has to be done off of a computer, and all the setup, and there's all kinds of things you have to have in place in order for you to get the end result that you're looking for. And it's easy to miss something in particular and not get the final product that you wanted. So trial and error, and just getting a little bit better and a little bit better at it, and a little more comfortable. And in order to finally get, like I said, the result that you're looking for. And, mistakes along the way, and you're going, oh, okay, note to self, don't do that again, kind of stuff. And well, me, I'm always trying to associate something with A Course in Miracles, and I'm just that guy. So that's what I was making that connection. I go, that's really what kind of drew me to the Course in the first place, was it intrigued me that it was asking me to delve in a whole new skill set, and it was giving me instructions, just like we got instructions for the machine, going through it and going, oh, okay, that's what I, need to do. And I need to be aware of this. And those kind of things. And that's really what the course kind of intrigued me. It had this structure, and I needed that. I mean, we'd been into books and cool books as we read them and going, oh, that's a great insight and that's nice and everything. But then you'd kind of move on to another book afterwards. There was a starting into a book and starting another book. And all of a sudden you realize with this one, man, this is not going away. This is something that, you know, is always going to be fresh and pertinent and something that you can instill in your life. And, you know, by the basic title of the thing, it is a course. You know, it's educational. It's like it's got the text, and, you know, it's like, you know, going to hear a professor talking about something you really know something about, and the lecture, if you will. And then, you know, it gives you homework. You've got the, you know, the workbook. Here, take these principles and here's how you can apply them. So anyway, it just became something that was, that you could integrate all the time, and it was always going to be fresh and new, and it's something that you could practice and actually see some results. And that's kind of where it grabs you. When you look around and you understand what you've experienced and you look at it from another point of view, and all of a sudden it gives you a more of a peaceful feeling and a gratifying feeling, going, oh, I think I kind of understand what's going on here, you know? And I love that part, and being able to see it differently. And for one reason, I mean, the course says of itself, it has basically one reason, and its purpose is peace. That's what it wants. That's what it's all about. It's trying to give us peace. As a matter of fact, there's one statement in the course that says, the goal of the course is not enlightenment, it is peace. You know, a lot of people want to read things and get into things and think there's going to be this enlightenment, but for what? Not to be on top of the knowledge thing, but actual bringing peace into your life. And that's by different concepts and different words. It brings a whole different vocabulary into the picture, things you can tap into that you may have thought about before in a certain way, but now all of a sudden the course is using the same words, but in a different language and putting it together. And you have to be able to make peace with that. I mean, it uses terms like Son of God. You know, a lot of people turned off by that, but the Son of God being us, you know, it's everybody. And when trying to make that generality that we're all the same, we're all part of the same game. It's all us, all in, all together. And when you start to, you know, have those kind of paradigm shifts, it's not us and them, man, it's us. We are them. And we have to be able to maneuver through the experiences in our life to be able to make that make some sense. And especially if we're going to have peace. So I was going through the course and thinking about some of the traits and ideas and words that we really need to kind of put in place. It's like in the, you know, owner's manual for a machine or something, you have this terminology. So I was going to share with you real quick some of the attributes. I can reach it now. So this isn't a manual for the teachers in A Course in Miracles, and there's 10 of them. I'm not going to spend a great amount of time, but I just wanted to inject these words, that these are important characteristics and traits that have to be built on with A Course in Miracles mindset, and to be able to really start putting the big picture together. Everything's down, and then when you're ready to push start and get the end result, and you've got all these under your belt, everything's been covered. So the first one is trust. It says we have to learn how to have trust in what it is we're doing and what it is we're thinking. Without trust, that's the foundation. Without trust, we're not going anywhere. If you can't trust the belief system that you're thinking about, then that belief system is not trusting you. Okay? I mean, it's got to be there. You got to be comfortable with it and know that this is the way it is. And when I first started course, there was a time in the very beginning where I decided, you know what, if I'm really going to get into this, it's all in. I can't dabble with this thing. So I made this agreement with myself and said, I'm just going to pretend that everything I read is true. I've just made up my mind, no matter what it says, I'm going to pretend that it's true. And after a while, you know, it's like fake it till you make it stuff. But after a while, you're going, man, there's no sense in pretending here. This is like the real deal. But I had to have a trust in it. And that's how I kind of, you know, baby stepped my way into it, was I'm going to just assume this is true and I'm going to make sense of it. If I can't, I'm going to study it until I can make sense of it. A lot of people get turned off, of course, you know, because there's a commitment into buying into these concepts, and they're life-changing. After a while, man, you look at it and there comes that decision point going, if I believe this is a game changer. I'm going to have to look at the rest of my life in a different scope. I'm going to have to interject the idea of forgiveness and what that really means. And I can't hold grievances. I know what that really means, that everything is either an extension of love or a call for love. I understand what that really means, and on and on and on. And it just gives you so many tools, but they have to be in place and you can't leave anything out, just like with the laser engraver. If I miss one step in the process of what I'm doing before I hit that start button, it could be disastrous. So I'm always kind of continuously going through this checklist in my mind, going, okay, fans turned on, this is turned on, that's on, I get this. You know, I go through this sequence of things, and before I hit start, it's like, okay, I'm going to go through this one more time. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you know, because it just, you want to feel comfortable about what it is that you think you're about to accomplish. And that's where the trust comes in. You have trust that this is going to work out. This is a good way to be looking at things. So trust, major importance. The second one is honesty, you know, to be true to yourself, that I feel comfortable in this skin. I know that this is the right thing to do. I'm not waffling about it. I know I'm being honest with myself that this works and I feel good about it, and that's going to lead me towards peace. So one of the lines in here says, talking about the term honesty, it says the term actually means consistency. I'm not waffling. It is what it is, and I feel good about it, and I'm being honest with myself and others. Honesty is a big part. Number 3 was tolerance. And we typically think of tolerance as being, okay, I'm going to put up with it. Okay, I'm not going to be happy about it, but I'm going to put up with it. And we kind of leave it there as, that's about as tolerant as I need to be, you know. And it's funny, in this particular section, it's the only paragraph with the only description that actually doesn't use the title word throughout the whole thing. It never mentions tolerance once. But what it does do is it talks about judgment. And that's where, to have total tolerance, you have to have relinquished all judgment. There's nothing to be tolerant about, because you're not sensing any sort of negativity or anything. You're not bringing that luggage with it. You've let go of judgment, and that automatically makes it a universal tolerance, as it were. One of the lines in here I like, it says, without judgment are all things equally acceptable, for who could judge otherwise? So we're not putting labels and levels and descriptions onto things that can be wishy-washy back and forth. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. That's judgment. This is in the concept of total acceptance, if you will. Number 4 was gentleness. You know, tolerance and non-judgmentalism is going to give you a frame of mind and a peace of mind that you're going to feel nothing but being wanting to be gentle to yourself and to others in your thoughts and actions. I mean, that's kind of a nice result of feeling good about the thing. Number 5 is joy. Good line in here says, the open hands of gentleness are always filled. It's a nice line. The open hands of gentleness are always filled. So, what could be the better outcome of the gentleness and tolerance and everything but to experience joy, right? Number 6 is defenselessness. Those are big. I mean, those are the huge lessons in the workbook, talking about being able to get past our defenses and to buy into defenselessness is where my real safety lies. When I feel like I'm in the position where I don't have to defend anything, that's the space. I don't have to defend the course, my thoughts, anything. If it needs to be defended, it's weak. Anything that has to be defended is weak. Okay. But we want to do that defending, especially with like our fears and our anxieties and that stuff. The only reason they're around is because we're defending their existence. You know, we can name it, we've claimed it. And by letting go of the defenselessness, not having to feel like you have to stick up for something, you just let it be. It is what it is. And if you're honest with yourself and the gentleness is coming through and you've been tolerant, you're not judgmental, those defenses are just laid down. One of the workbook lessons is and correct me if I'm wrong here, Susan, but in my defenselessness, my safety lies. And it's only when I have let that down. And if you think about how Jesus kind of incorporated that kind of idea in scripture, one of the things that comes to my mind is when he talks about if somebody asks you to go a mile, go 2. You know, you've all heard that before. Well, the psychology behind that basically is, you know, if there's a Roman soldier, you know, he's putting it in that context and he tells somebody, hey, carry this, you know, for going on, and you're going, yeah, okay. You know, how far you want to go? A mile? I'll go 2. Chances are he's going to go find somebody else. He doesn't want somebody to carry a load if the guy doesn't care. You know, he just wants it to be, you know, I want to know that I'm in control and that you don't like what I'm making you do. And that was kind of the culture they were living in. And Jesus is going, hey. The other one is, you know, if somebody asks you for the shirt, give them your coat. These are not just little story parables. These are psychological events. You know, that you're going through, if you can understand the reasoning behind such a thing, it's about peace and being able to show somebody else, I got nothing to be defensive here about. I'll do it, you know. So there's an acceptance there of just knowing why, because if you don't and you're gonna fight it, the course says you're gonna find a way to justify it. You're always gonna justify the unjustifiable, as the course says. So, and the next one is generosity. It says, you know, without trust, no one can be generous in the true sense. And giving freely, no attachments. And we always want to put these kind of words and things into this physical deal, but this has to do with our thoughts as well. I mean, to be generous with your thoughts, to be at peace, that you're putting a good vibe out there, that's a good thing. And that's being generous to yourself and others. Okay. Says the teacher of God does not want anything he cannot give away. We used to use that kind of idea around when we talk about the idea of sacrifice. And we'd say, if there's anything in your life that you cannot freely give away without feeling that you have lost a part of your identity, if you will, if that falls into the idea of sacrifice, then whatever that thing is, man, that thing owns you. You don't own it. And that's kind of the idea behind, you know, the generosity, that it's the good for the all the time. The next one is, patience. Wow, what a good thing that is, man. It's how nice to fall into that space when you can become totally patient with everything. I mean, we want to immediately kind of jump to the ideas, what are all the things that could go wrong here, and what, am I seeing the whole big picture? And I mean, that chatter mind stuff that's always going on in every situation, right? So it's nice to have the idea that patience is a really good part of the formula. And then faithfulness, it says faithfulness is the teacher of God's trust in the word of God to set all things right, not some, but all. That we have this faith that comes with that trust. Once we've seen it work and we continue to see it work and we experience it and have those moments, those aha moments, if you will, and realize that the confidence in that we're going to have, you can't help but have some faith in it. And the more you do it, the more faithful it becomes, the more you depend on it, and it becomes the norm instead of the exception. And what a nice place to be, to know in any situation, I feel very comfortable in my skin and I have faith in the process. And we're always saying that, right, Ron? I mean, it's a process, it's a process. Well, all of this is, and we can't leave anything out. And the last one is open-mindedness. That we're open to these things. We know that we have the ability, if we're not feeling right about things, if we're anxious, that there is another way out, and we can be open-minded enough to at least open those venues, those avenues that can help us go in that direction. So open-mindedness is the end one that it mentions. It says only the open-minded can be at peace, for they alone see reason for it. We can see the reason for peace. And how do we do that? Well, we have to realize when we're not at peace. I don't feel good about this, so there must be another way of looking at things. And that's basically what A Course in Miracles is all about. Like I said, it's about peace. That's the goal. That's where we want to be. But we can't be there if we have all the grievances, or if we feel like we have to defend ourselves and all these things. That's why the Course is always talking about reversal of thinking. Then it says of itself, this course is a mind training event. Okay, it's about total focus. What can I do to look at this differently? And the beauty is with this particular thing, I mean, with my machine, I got a manual and I got YouTube, to help me out. But in the same respect, I mean, Course, here's the instructions, but it even goes further. It gives us an actual, YouTube teacher. We don't do this alone. I mean, we have this built-in Holy Spirit, and it's the ultimate guide to everything that we could possibly have a question about. But we don't want, we don't tap into that in our past lives or early religious lives. It's just always been a term that was tacked on at the end of a statement, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. There was never really any thought about what is that? It's just a part of the continuation of a statement. But in A Course in Miracles, it's a key player. And that's the beauty of it. Yeah, excuse me. Sorry. That we have this buddy, this guide, that's always there. And all we have to do is ask, Holy Spirit, please help me see this differently. And all we're really doing is asking for a shift in perception. And we wouldn't be asking the question unless we didn't feel good about the situation, right? But we got to remember to ask the question. We got to remember, I'm not feeling good. This is very uncomfortable. There must be a better way of looking at this because I know I could have peace. The Course said, one of the great statements in the Course is, I could have peace instead of this. You know, if you could just grab onto that one line, anytime you're not feeling good about something, or like I said, anxious or whatever, and you use that line, say, I could have peace instead of this, you're planting that seed. You know there's another way of looking at this. You know there's another outcome that could be a more peaceful one. And all you have to do is be open to start seeing the bigger picture of things. We always want to jump in, oh, that person did this terrible thing and this is awful and all these things. And if one moment of reflection and going, I don't know anything about that person. I mean, I don't know what kind of childhood that person had. You know, I don't know what happened in their life that puts them in this position. But I know one thing, they're in this position now and they're in my life, and there's another way I can look at this and I can make it better, you know, for myself and the other. So it's so important that we get the idea that we're not in this alone. And of course, it's also big on saying we can't make it to heaven, if you will, in those terms, alone. It's impossible. We're all in this. And we can't ever get the idea that, you know, someone could be left out. That's not the case. We all go or nobody goes. Well, when you start looking at it from that view, everybody starts becoming a real player in your life as far as, wow, I need to look at this situation and this person as being somebody that I can have a more joyful experience with. And that's what I want to bring to the party. When I'm thinking about these things also, I'm always trying to think of some sort of analogy, you know, something I'm bringing. And the thing that popped into my mind, I don't know why, I'm not a baker, but I thought the idea of baking a cake, right? If you were going to, you know, go through the trouble of baking a cake, and this cake is going to be the ultimate cake of peace, okay? And you're going to start from scratch. This isn't some out of the box recipe thing. This is grinding your own flour and getting all the ingredients. And you want this cake to be the most perfect cake possible, the ultimate. Every ingredient that's going into it, you know, forgiveness, trust, tolerance, and, you know, all these things, the joy of you're putting into this cake to make it right, and the love that's being initiated to make this thing happen. And the icing on the cake, and the thing that we miss, I think, the most, is once we have made the decision to have this, create this such possibility, is the idea of gratitude. You know, it seems to be kind of left out in that thing, but that is the icing on the cake. When you have absolute gratitude for what it is that's happening in your life in one way or another, if you can find gratitude for the experience and what am I learning here, that is what we need to walk away from with. And I read a book over at Presbyterian in one of the Sunday school classes, and it was called As a Man Thinketh. It's by Viktor Frankl. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he was a doctor back in World War II, a Jewish doctor, and got, you know, went to the concentration camps. And the way he survived was that he had made up his mind that he was going to be grateful for every event and everything that happened. He wasn't just going to play grateful. He was going to be grateful for when he knew it was probably the only thing that was ever going to allow him to survive, and not only survive, but to survive the after world, after the concentration camps. Because you can't have all the negative, mean, you know, and victim feelings throughout the whole thing and not be affected on the other side with that. And he knew that that was not the life he wanted to live afterwards, should he survive. And he talks about how grateful he was for a fish head in a bowl. This wasn't like, okay, you know, grateful. This was like totally grateful. That became his mindset. So gratitude for everything that he was experiencing became the absolute peace in his life that he was able to bring. It's a wonderful little book. And when I was also doing this, I was reading Eckhart Tolle, And he was talking about there's some concepts from there too that one has to kind of establish in their lives in order to get, you know, to that peaceful situation. And his were awareness, that you are aware of what's going on. You are totally in the idea of being able to distinguish in your mind, this is the events that are happening and this is how I'm going to deal with them. But you're totally aware that this is a process. And then the other one was enjoyment. I mean, once you're aware it is what it is, whatever the situation is, if you can find a way to bring some joy into whatever it is that you're working through, you got to bring that enjoyment or it's just going to seem like a fight. And the other one was enthusiasm, you know, to feel so good about the experiences that are going on in your spiritual life that you feel almost there's this ecstasy of fulfillment and this wanting, this enthusiasm for that momentum to carry through and more and more and more. And like I said, when that starts becoming the rule instead of the exception, now all of a sudden you not only feel good about it, you feel excited about it. And what is the point in any of this stuff if we can't feel excited and really good about the thought systems that we're following? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. Why do we want to do it if it feels like a grunge? Not only do we want to like it, man, we want to feel really good about it. But you're not going to do that without the kind of practice that you know, we're being asked to take. And that's what A Course in Miracles really kind of brings to the party, is it is giving you all so many insights into what is really going on in our egoic thinking and the way that we look at the world, and that there's another way of looking at it. And for any course student, I mean, they know, I mean, you know, the actual definition of a miracle in courses, it's a shift in perception. That's what we're looking for, is I'm not at peace with this. I need to shift my perception and ask the Holy Spirit to help me see this differently. And I'm sure that the answer is going to be there because I have the trust that I know that this is going to work. So anyway, that's kind of my tidbit. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Thank you, Mike. Gosh, we got a refurb here, Steve. Okay. Does it still echo? No. Okay, well, we thank you, Mike, for sharing that, condensing that great big book down to about a 45-minute speech and doing a very good job of it. you
God,
know,
was it that long?
all the, well, that's how long we've been talking, but no, it was really good. You touched on all the points, all the principles that are important in Course in Miracles, and we thank you for that, because we think that that's the really the heart and the soul of Course in Miracles, and that's why we love it so much, because it seems to be so complicated, but actually it is simple when you reduce it to its primary principles. So thank you very much. Does anybody have anything they'd like to talk to Mike? Just unmute and go for it.
I want to thank you because you hit upon something, a couple of things that had been bothering me this week, and you helped me to remember what it is that I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to look at it, and how I'm supposed to find the joy and the enthusiasm in it. And if not, what do I need to, how do I need to look at it differently? And you gave me some thoughts and some ideas and some help in approaching the problems that I'm facing. So thank you very much. You really gave me what I needed today.
Well, thank you, Jerry.
Well, Mike, only you could do it. You can make something that seems so daunting to so many people so simple and so real and so accessible. I always love listening to you, because like Jerry was saying, you bring home some points that we have forgotten, And like I said, you just make it so simple. And I've always heard that the simpler things are, the closer to the truth they are. And the more complicated you want to make it, the further away it is. So I just can't tell you enough how much I enjoy when you talk about Course. It's, well, because you know that's where my heart is too.
Yeah, I know.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Mike, the way that you talk about the course, it makes it obvious that really it's the simplest way to operate our lives, you know? It really is if we just jump right to those principles right away. We have principles like that in a lot of great programs that have, been copied and put around and are just, they're good guides to life. It's just that us humans, we got to get in the middle of it and create drama and suspense and, all of these situations and circumstances that just take us away from it. And you really help me see how to get back to it. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Steve.
I took notes, Mike. I have some questions when you're done. I missed a couple. Sorry, honey. I love you. Good talk. It was awesome.
Looks like I'm going to be in my man cave for a little while.
I gotta go unplug that machine.
I bet you're grateful you upgraded your doghouse now. Well, that's great. Mike, we thank you again for coming and sharing with us today. And you brought a great message of the Course in Miracles and simplified it. Maybe now some of you who have been reluctant about joining the Course in Miracles group might find it in your heart to come and meet with them on Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock our time. We meet on Zoom.
Is it 6 or 6:30?
It is.
6:30.
It's 6 o'clock.
We both need to get changed.
Yeah, no, it got changed because it was easier for
Susan, but I'm
For
saying
Susan.
this
is it saying 6:30 in here?
I just read it.
Okay. Well, which is it? Is it 6 or 6:30?
6.
That's what I thought, 6.
Mm.
6 o'clock, Wednesday evening.
And this week we're going to be talking about anger.
Hmm. Okay. Well, thank you, Mike. We're going to just continue on with our service. We appreciate you coming and being with us once again. And we're, we understand that you have other obligations and you won't be here every time, but actually your presence and your wisdom lingers after you have gone. So we always are feeling your essence here with us because it's in love and in compassion, and we appreciate those things and we recognize them here in fellowship. Thank you very much.
Well, just a final note on that. I want you to know that, when I do go to these other classes of the other churchmen, I just feel like I'm an extension of fellowship. Like I'm here to share with you that things that we talk about at my church, and so it is an extension. And I look at it that way in terms of, if they don't get it from us, they're not going to get it from anywhere. So at least we're breaking that ground and trying to find, peaceful conversations and stuff around such ideas. But it's that old adage, you may be the only Bible some people will ever hear. Well, same with Course. We may be the only Course that some people will ever hear.
Yeah.
And that's, it's a nice place to be.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to take up our collection now, and I'm going to say our little thing that we always say, which is, where is it? Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive through infinity. I am prosperous. So if you're at home and you're not, obviously can't participate in this ceremony that we have, but you can mail your whatever you want to give to 2009 East 13th Street, Farmington, New Mexico 87401, and it will be secure. It comes right here to the church, but your offering will be secure.
And it's a locked mailbox.
It's a locked mailbox, so no one is going to get it. So anyway, that's all we need to say about that. I think that Margaret has another song that she wants to sing. I would be true. Okay.
What number? 243.
243. Thank you, Margaret and Steve. The dynamic duo. Yeah. Well, we're grateful for each and every one of you that came to be with us today. Does anyone have any announcements that they'd like to make?
We'll be sending out a notice on the solstice gathering of friends. It'll be Monday, the 21st of June, from 4-ish until 8-ish.
Okay. I'm not sure that everyone could hear that, but you will be getting a constant contact message on your email that will give you all of the details about our solstice ceremony for the 21st of June, which June is almost on us and half the year is gone. So today is tomorrow is the last day of May, but our celebration of solstice will be on the 21st, which is a Monday. It will be at the Kiwanis Park on 30th Street, as we have had it always in the past. Fred Brown will be playing music, but his band will not be there. It'll just be Fred singing in the background. So it will be a potluck, and we encourage you just to bring your favorite dish, and it'll all work out, and it will be good.
What time does it start?
Well, we have the park from 4 o'clock until 8 o'clock. We suspect that probably things won't really get going until around 5, but we have the park from 4 until 8.
And it is potluck. The church will be providing drinks and some drinks, and the silverware, the plates and.
Yeah, we will supply the plates and the forks and the drinks and ice and that, and everyone else. Potluck will be whatever everybody else brings. Anyone else have anything else that they'd like to announce at this time or share with the congregation? Well, I'd like to remind everyone that this is Memorial Day weekend. And Memorial Day weekend is about remembering those people who have in military service have given their lives to protect our freedoms and our way of life. From the time that our country was first founded until today, all of them equally in gratitude. So gratitude was a really, really good topic for today, to remember those people who have given all so that we may be free and have the liberty to sit in a church and to have our own ideas and our own concepts of who God might be. And that is an important thing, and it is such a invaluable, I mean, it's, invaluable in that it's priceless that we can have this freedom and liberty. It did not come free. And so this is the day, the weekend that is designated to remember those, not only those we have a different day for those that have served, veterans, but Memorial Day is for those who gave the ultimate price for our freedoms. So think about that whenever you come around tomorrow. That's what it's about. We can use this as a marker to start our summer and have everything. There's nothing wrong with celebration. So in our celebration, I just ask that you would remember those who have gone on and served so that we may have these freedoms. Anyone else? Well, Father, Mother God, we thank you for this time for us to come together. We thank you for our church, for our fellowship, for our relationships one with another. We ask that you would protect us and keep us safe, that any that are struggling with any diseases or any problems in their life, that you would touch them and heal them to the best of their ability. We ask that you would watch over our military, our first responders, our workers in our hospitals, those that are EMT, those that come to us for emergency things that would carry us to safety, that you would bless these people, for they are the foundations of our society that keeps us going. And anyone that serves another serves in love and with your blessing. Until we meet again, keep us and bless us. Amen. All right.
Mike, and the Lord's Prayer.
Mike, you want to do the Lord's Prayer? Are you prepared?
Yeah, I'm okay.
We got into used to he's not here all the time. So anyway, go ahead and do the Lord's Prayer.
Okay. Awon dashmea ned karashmak. Tadate malkuta. Ne quays tibia e conant washmea. Bara. Howlin lakma un kanuyomana. Wash wakan howbane. E kanadak kanon. Shaplin il hayuing. Ula tatla anisiona. Elapasan. Mimbisha. Meto de la ki malkuta. Haila. Tishbukta. La alam. Alamin. Amen. Our Father in universe, hallowed be thy name. Come thy kingdom. Let be thy wishes, as in universe, so in earth. Give us bread our need today, and release us our offenses, as we release too our offenders. And do not let us enter into worldliness, but part us from error. For thine is kingdom, power, and glory from ages to ages, sealed in faith, trust, and truth. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Mike. That ends our service. I'm going to turn off the recording.